In 2001, a guy named James Yonan was traveling through Central Asia, using Russian and Asian internet connections, and got so paranoid about someone snooping on his data that he wrote his own encryption software. That software became OpenVPN, and it basically defined internet privacy for 2 decades. So let's go through every VPN protocol that exists and figure out which one is actually worth using. pptp, Point-to-Point Tunneling Protocol. Microsoft created this back in the 1990s, and it shows. It uses 128-bit encryption through something called MPPE, which relies on the RC4 algorithm. RC4 has been cracked so many times that even Microsoft publicly tells people to stop using it. The NSA can break pptp connections essentially in real time. So why does it still exist? Speed. Because the encryption is so weak, it barely adds any overhead. pptp is the fastest protocol you can use, and it's built into basically every operating system ever made. But using pptp for actual security in 2026 is like locking your front door with a piece of string. It exists purely as a reminder of how far we've come. L2TP/IPsec, Layer 2 tunneling protocol paired with IPsec for encryption. This was the upgrade path from pptp, and for a while it was the default on most corporate VPNs. It supports AES 256 encryption, which is what governments use. Sounds great, right? The thing is, L2TP wraps your data twice, once in the tunnel, once in the encryption, which makes it noticeably slower than everything else. It also uses fixed UDP ports 500 and 4500, which makes it trivially easy to block. Any network administrator or government firewall can shut down L2TP connections by blocking 2 ports. And then there's the NSA question. Leaked documents from 2013 suggest the agency may have deliberately weakened IPsec. Nobody's proven a specific backdoor, but if your threat model includes nation-state actors, L2TP/IPsec is a nervous choice. IKE-v2/IPsec. Internet Key Exchange version 2, built jointly by Cisco and Microsoft, paired with IPsec for the actual encryption. This is the mobile user's best friend. IKE-v2 has a feature called Mobike that lets you switch from Wi-Fi to cellular data without dropping your VPN connection. You're on your home Wi-Fi, you walk out the door, your phone switches to 4G, and the VPN just stays connected. No reconnection, no dropped packets. For anyone who commutes or travels constantly, that's huge. It's also fast, lightweight, and built into most operating systems natively, so you don't need to install anything. But just to let you know though, it shares IPsec's trust issues, and it's not as configurable as OpenVPN. Most people, including myself, consider IKE-v2 the second best option behind WireGuard for mobile use. OpenVPN, the gold standard for over 20 years. OpenVPN uses the OpenSSL library, which means it supports basically every encryption cipher that exists, including AES 256 GCM, the same thing that protects classified government documents. It has perfect forward secrecy, which means even if someone cracks one session key, they can't decrypt your past or future sessions. Each connection gets its own unique key. The codebase is massive, over 600,000 lines of code, which makes it thoroughly audited but also complex and resource-heavy. The real killer feature? OpenVPN can run on TCP port 443, which is the same port that regular HTTPS web traffic uses. That means it can disguise itself as normal browsing. China's Great Firewall, corporate networks, hotel Wi-Fi that blocks VPNs, OpenVPN can punch through almost anything because blocking it means blocking the entire internet. The trade-off is speed. OpenVPN runs in user space, not kernel space, which means every packet has to bounce between the operating system and the application. That overhead costs you roughly 57% of your potential speed compared to WireGuard. WireGuard. And here's the new king. Created by Jason Donenfeld in 2016, WireGuard threw out everything complicated about VPN protocols and started from scratch. The entire codebase is roughly 4,000 lines. 4,000! Compared to OpenVPN's 600,000. That's not a typo. Linus Torvalds, the creator of Linux himself, publicly said he loved WireGuard, called the code a work of art, and merged it directly into the Linux kernel, starting with version 5.6. It uses Cha-Cha-20 for encryption, Curve 25519 for key exchange, and Blake 2S for hashing. These are all state-of-the-art cryptographic primitives that are actually faster on devices without hardware AES acceleration, which includes most phones and tablets. Speed tests consistently show WireGuard outperforming OpenVPN by about 57%. You can hit 300 to 445 megabits per second on a 500 megabits per second connection through NordVPN or Surfshark running WireGuard. The downside? WireGuard only uses UDP, no TCP support. That means it can't disguise itself as web traffic, and it's easier to block on restrictive networks. Also, by default, WireGuard stores the last used IP address in memory, which is a privacy concern. But VPN providers like NordVPN have solved this with their NordLynx implementation that double NATs connections to strip identifying data. SSTP, Secure Socket Tunneling Protocol. Microsoft made this one too, and it basically copies OpenVPN's approach of tunneling through port 443. It works well on Windows. It works terribly on everything else. It's proprietary, closed source, and has never been independently audited. If you're not on Windows, forget it even exists. Soft Ether, the academic project that grew up. Started at the University of Tsukuba in Japan, Soft Ether is a free, open-source, multi-protocol VPN server that supports OpenVPN, L2TP, IPsec, SSTP, and its own protocol all at once. It runs on Windows, Mac, Linux, Android, and FreeBSD. It's incredibly powerful and incredibly complicated to set up. If you enjoy spending weekends reading documentation, Soft Ether is your paradise. So the verdict is simple: WireGuard for speed and daily use, OpenVPN when you need to bypass firewalls or maximum configurability, IKV2 for mobile if WireGuard isn't available. Everything else is either legacy, niche, or both. Every hacker attack explained is on the screen. Go watch it next.